throw out there. So these are real questions that came into our hotline. And, we're not going to share exactly the details of who asked the question and what business it was, but we've taken the question and we've taken the employer out and we tested Monique. We want to test Monique with this. And then, Burt, I want you and I to talk a little bit about the answer and did she get it exactly right? Does she need some help in some areas? And so that we can get a feel for, you know, can I rely on AI the way it is today for these types of workplace questions and answers? You ready?
I'm ready. Let's try it, Phil.
Monique, are you ready? Monique?
Well, we have to summon her. Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
All right.
Gosh, she really can be a
She
pain. All
is.
right, Bert. Bring her up, Bert.
All right. Monique. Monique. Monique.
All
It's
right, there we go.
showtime.
Monique?
Yeah, it's showtime, she said.
All right, it's showtime. You got to speak up, Monique. I mean, we want to hear your voice here. All right, here we go. I'll read the question. Monique, I want you to give us an answer. Bert, and then you and I are going to provide some critique or compliments here. We have an employee who previously qualified for FMLA leave and took it earlier this year for a specific issue. The employee now has a completely separate issue, but has not worked 1,250 hours in the past 12 months because of the leave previously taken. Does this mean that they are no longer covered by FMLA and this new leave request can be denied? You get that, Monique? You got an answer for us?
Yes, if the employee has not worked the required 1,250 hours in the past 12 months due to their previous FMLA leave, they do not qualify for additional FMLA leave for a new issue. Their new leave request can be denied based on not meeting the hours requirement.
All right. Pretty fair answer. What she's saying isn't wrong. I wouldn't say, Bert, would you?
No, so Phil, I would have to say that I need to go back and check my regulations to confirm that. But I think that is the correct answer. But I would of course go back and check the regulation and obtain citation for that.
Yeah. And the other thing that I think of anytime I hear questions about FMLA, immediately I put up my ADA awareness banner, right? It's like, I also need to think about ADA. It may or may not, but I need to consider that. And I would have liked to hear you tell me that, Monique, that maybe if it doesn't qualify for FMLA, well, ADA very well may. And Bert, I'm not sure that our requirement is the same for FMLA and ADA.
Well, there is no hour requirement for ADA,
This is
so
my point, yeah.
definitely not the same, exactly.
Right. The other thing I probably would have thought through a little bit is if someone asked me that question, I would ask them just how are they counting the hours? Are they on a rolling year, a calendar year? Hours are hours, but some of those things may matter. And what I'm not sure of is whether or not if the person is working full time and they've had 12 weeks off, they should still have 1,600 hours unless something else has happened there. So I would be challenging the sum of hours just to make sure we're doing it the right way.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to make sure that the hours have been calculated correctly. Whether you're using the rolling method, the 12-month look back, or the leave year method, that has to do with how much leave they're entitled to when they get their 12 weeks of leave. But as far as the 1,250 hours, that is measured on a yearly or 12-month period basis.
Right, absolutely. So there's some things there. And then, when you do call the hotline, you're going to get sample policies, sample letters, ways to communicate. You're going to get that kind of help. And so while I think, Monique, you did a great job answering the question in a factual way, there's corners to think around just to make sure that the person asking the question has already thought through those corners, right? The reason we're asking for help is because, hey, it's better. We are better as professionals when we talk through these things out loud with someone else who's thinking in a professional way about all the circumstances that might be overlooked or yet to come that we haven't considered. But not a bad answer, Monique. Not a bad answer.
On the right track.
All right, let's give you another one, Monique. Here we go. I wanted to confirm there is no state of federal law. There is no state or federal law. Yeah, I think it's or, isn't it? Stating that an employer has to pay out any accrued/earned PTO or vacation. We generally pay it out. I asked in the case where the termination turned out explosive. I asked in this case because the termination turned out to be explosive or has been consistently late, the worker is subpar and causing delays in production, etc. So that's kind of the question. This is sometimes how they come in. Basically, what the question is saying is, do I have to pay out vacation or PTO? They generally pay it out. And they're worried about it being an explosive environment. So, Monique, I hope you understand that question. And if so, I'd love to hear your answer.
In the United States, federal law does not require employers to provide paid time off, PTO, or vacation leave. However, if an employer chooses to offer these benefits and they are accrued, earned by the employee, some states may have laws that govern whether accrued PTO or vacation must be paid out upon termination. These laws vary significantly by state. For example, some states mandate that accrued PTO must be paid out upon termination, regardless of the circumstances of termination. Other states allow employers to establish policies on whether accrued PTO will be paid out upon termination, which would typically be outlined in the company's employment policies or employee handbook. In explosive termination situations, or where an employee's performance has been consistently problematic, employers should consult with legal counsel familiar with employment law in their state to ensure compliance with local regulations regarding the payout of accrued PTO or vacation time. This helps mitigate potential legal risks associated with termination.
Oof.
All right.
Wow.
Whoop. That's a lot, Monique. That's
a lot. It is.
But
so,
Burt,
go
ahead,
so
Burt.
that's a good answer, Phil, that Monique gave there. And I would probably do it just a little bit differently, and I would tell the client that there's no requirement under federal law to pay this out. And then my very next question would be, what state are you in? And then I would answer the question.
Right. And in fairness, I didn't give that to Monique. The state in this case, I believe, was Florida. And Florida does not have they follow the federal law in that space. I think what you missed, Monique, right off the bat, and maybe it was just the way I explained it, if I'm going to go back and read the question here, we generally pay it out. I'm going to focus right in on that, Burt. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? You generally pay that out. I want to know more. When have you not paid it out and under what circumstances? Because, Burt, you've taught me over the years one thing: be consistent in your application of policy.
Yeah, we don't want to get ourselves into a different kind of claim by not paying it out. For instance, if we've paid it out every time we've terminated a white employee, and in this situation, the termination involved a black employee, and we don't pay out the vacation or PTO, we might walk ourselves into a race discrimination claim.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know my advice generally is look, if you've done this in the past and you haven't yet not paid someone out because that you have a difficult situation, somebody's mad, somebody's upset, whatever it is, be consistent with the policy, deal with that other stuff another way. And let's talk about how we do that, right? I want to be careful about, site security. Who do I need to notify? How are we going to, if I don't like the policy and we want to change it, let's have that conversation. And how do we put people on notice that we're changing the policy? What should the policy be? Those types of things. And again, sample policies, examples of letters and ways to do that. I think are all important to consider in that. So again, very good answer from Monique, but I'm not sure they're considering all the other experiences that you're going to get from a legal advisor or from the AIM hotline in that case as well. But good job, Monique. I'm proud of you. All right. You keep learning.
Thank you once again for tuning in to This Week at Work. If you enjoy the show, please share it with your colleagues. Forward our invites. Share the link, aimea.org/This Week at Work, or follow or subscribe wherever you get your news and entertainment, like LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're everywhere you are. And you can be part of the show. Send your questions and comments anytime to info@thisweek.work. We'll see you next week, 7:30 a.m. Central Time, when we discuss what's happening this week at work.